Hey Techno Studs, you're going to run into a lot of issues that you'll need to troubleshoot. A lot of times it's something that you've configured and something you've configured wrong. But other times it could be because there's a link down or something else is going on your network. So let's go ahead and do some troubleshooting steps, and I'm going to step you through how I would troubleshoot certain issues and the way I would think about approaching troubleshooting. And so what we're going to do is I've incorporated an error, an issue within the network. Let's see if we can discover it together. Here is our network. We have 3 switches. One of them is a layer 3 switch over here on this network over here, a switch over here, and 3 routers. I'm pinging the switch over here in this network on this distant remote network. So let's see if I've introduced a problem on this network. Let's go through the troubleshooting process with this. So the first thing that I like to do is just see what the problem is. When I open up a command prompt and I will type a ping and just see if I can even ping the outside world. So I'm going to ping www.google.com. Now, this is actually going to be successful because of the way I have my network set up, but there is a problem within this network. So instead of pinging www. Oh, by the way, if I weren't successful with this, another thing that I could try is ping 8.8.8.8. That's a server that's always on out there, and it's out on the internet. So I can troubleshoot this to see if it's maybe a DNS issue. So we still have an issue, and we haven't discovered what it is yet. As representative, I'm going to actually ping 10.241.0.3. That's the loopback address that will later on, it's representing our default route right now, but later on we're going to actually route this to the world in a future video. So I'm going to ping that. I have an issue. Something's down on my network. So where that is that. I also have a continuous ping down here going on. So when we fix our issue, we'll actually be able to ping that switch on the far end. So what is wrong with this? Well, first of all, what I like to do is something's wrong here. Can I even get to my default gateway? So I'm going to ping 10.1.10.1, which is my default gateway. I can ping that just fine. We're good to go there. Then I like to just I'll either split the network in half, or I'll just kind of see ping throughout my network and see where is the break in this. So what I did just then is I pinged this switch right here, and then let's ping this router right here. So that router, if I ping 10.240.0.2, so that's successful. So then I'm going to ping router 1. So let's ping 10.240.2.1. So, and now that is not successful. So that we're somewhere there's a break between this router and this router. So I could SSH into R2, but I don't have connectivity to it right now. I can't even ping it right now. So what I can do is I can get onto R1 and start looking at R1 to see if there's anything on R1 that's going to show me what the issue is. So I pull that up, and with R1, one of the things I can do is I can see if I can ping R2 from there, because even though I can't ping it from my machine, this link still might be up, so I can test it out from here. So ping 10.240.2.1 ping, and it's not able to ping from this device either. So now I know that the link is down altogether. So I'm not seeing that there's any connectivity between these 2 devices right here. I can do a show IP interface brief, one of my favorite troubleshooting tools here, and I look at serial 0010. That's the link over to that. And I can see that it's up. So I have basic connectivity. I've got an IP address here. I just can't ping the other side, which is interesting. I have the connectivity, but I just can't ping it. So that's very curious of why that's happening like that. So let's do a, how about a show run and take a look at our settings here and see what settings we have. And I'm going to look at this serial 010, and it's got an IP address and a point-to-point protocol. And, okay, so we see that configuration right there. And the next thing I need to do is I need to see what is different on R2 and what is R2 saying. And I can't SSH into it, I can't remote into it, so I'm gonna have to bring up a console cable. So what I'm gonna do next is get onto router 2 with this console cable. So I'm going to open up our serial 3 port right here. I'll open that up and we'll hit enter here to get into this device. All right, so R2, I'm gonna have to get into the console, so I'll copy this password here and get into the enable mode. So I'll copy the enable node password, and now we're into this device. So next step, what I need to do is figure out what's going on with this. I left off with looking at the running config. I'm gonna first of all do a show IP interface brief and see what's up with my connections here. This is saying it's up on this side as well, which should be no surprise because it was up on the router 1 side. But I look at this and I see here serial 010, and look at this IP address. It's not what I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be 10.240.2.1 is what I was expecting, and it's 2.17. So I'm gonna do a show run, and let's take a look at the running config. In fact, if I wanted to, I could just do a show run interface and just look at 010. So we single it out. We see an IP address on there. Yeah, sure enough, I look at this subnet mask and it's even in the wrong, it's in a completely wrong different subnet here. And in fact, if this was in the right subnet, if this was 2.14, what would be in the same range, OSPF would communicate out and we would have connectivity, and I could communicate across the network. It wouldn't be the right IP address that I would expect, but our network would still be up and running. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get into the global configuration mode, get into interface S010, and we're going to change the IP address to the .1 that it's supposed to be, and then 255.255.240. We'll hit enter on this, and then give it a second because the OSPF has to go through its process. And took a second, but it is now pinging here, so we're back up and running. I would then go ahead and save the configuration and make sure I grab a copy of the config file in case something happens in the future. But in this case right here, we had a wrong IP address. It was an IP address outside of the network that I've defined here. So we couldn't communicate back and forth because it was the wrong IP address. So there you have it. It does need to be the right IP address in the right subnet there. So there, check 1. We got issue number 1 checked off.